So welcome to a final episode of the day, live stream of the day at the USRowing Convention. I'm Charlotte Pierce with Ready Row USA. I'm the producer, and I'm here with Ted Benford. Hi, it's
Hi,
good
Charlotte.
to see you again.
Oh, it's great to see you too.
Yeah,
Thank you for having me on your show. Yeah.
You're welcome. And Ted's the executive director of Community Rowing, the largest rowing club in. Is it in the world?
Hard to say.
Yeah, well.
We are a.
Depends on how you measure.
We're a large public access rowing organization.
Yeah.
So
okay.
we serve about 2,500 people on the Charles River through the Harry Parker Boathouse in Sweep and Skull.
Sweet.
And then we serve around 7,500 kids in the city of Boston and potentially the city of Cambridge through programs with their middle schools. So Cambridge has 5 middle schools that we hope to serve at some point in 23, and then we serve around 50 public schools with middle school indoor rowing programs in conjunction with the physical education classes.
And my program, of course, which is the logbook sculling,
the logbook
master's sculling.
Yeah.
What I like about CRI is so big, so many people, but I was telling you earlier, you don't have silos necessarily. You have ways that and you said that was by design, ways that the communities cross over. So it's the master scullers, the para, the kids.
Yep.
So tell us a little bit about how you make that happen, the magic happen.
Well, one thing that we know about silos is that they can create a lot of very focused effort in excellence. But silos also have membranes, they have walls. And so part of what we looked at were the silos at CRI. Every organization has them.
Sure.
And part of our efforts around our own inclusion and equity awareness and the growth of our understanding of the role that we play in DEI meant that we look at our silos and we look at the ways that we've always done it and see if there are better ways to be more inclusive. Which actually enhances the experience for people who row there.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that we discovered was that removing some silos enabled people to enjoy the benefits of rowing and connection to people, where the individual experience, the transformation that happens on an individual basis, wasn't compromised and in fact was enhanced because more people were given more access to programming across a much broader array of backgrounds, experience, and ability.
Right.
So it's been a huge net positive to go through this.
And did you have a time frame that you were trying to make that happen in, or was it is it just an ongoing thing, or did you have to then when you came on, what would 10 years?
I came in. I came to CRI in 16, and I became the executive director in 18.
In 18, yeah.
Yeah.
So was there like a learning curve and then
massive, yeah. Huge.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, but a big part of one of the things about our efforts around inclusion is that there really isn't a time frame. It's the action first and learning second. And by that, what I mean is that we've taken a number of sort of organizational risks. We went through a full reorganization of our organizational chart and our structures. We looked at our programming and completely reevaluated our programming, and I can talk more about that if you want. And then we looked at organizational behavior, and one of the things that we know is that behavior is informed by mindsets, right? And so as part of what we try to engender and embody at CRI is a learning mindset.
Yeah.
And what that means, as we've even learned at the convention, is that don't let the perfect get in the way of the good or the great, right? And so let's do first and learn from what we're doing. Create small initiatives or pilots that may succeed, may fail. Learn a lot in the process, and just keep moving. Keep taking steps towards making CRI as inclusive and as personal and as responsive to our community as we can make it.
Right. And what were some of those pilots? Can you give an example of something?
Yeah, so we've done a lot. So when we looked at our programmatic reorganization, one of the things we realized is that at CRI, we have grant-funded programs and we have fee-for-service programs. We have a boathouse that's beautiful, but it exists in a transportation desert. We know that everyone at CRI, every program at CRI receives some form of financial aid, whether it's a grant that supports the cost of the program, or in every single fee-for-service program we have, there are also people that apply and receive sort of a defrayment of their costs, right, of the fees. Okay. And so coming out of COVID and thinking about the social justice, our role in rowing in social justice and in inclusion, what we decided to do was pilot a program that provided free snacks at CRI. So the CRI Fuel Instinct, they're great, the bars. But we worked in conjunction with USRowing, so I saw Liz Fisco at the convention, and we worked with Liz and other nutritionists to understand how to supply an array of access to protein, access to carbohydrate, access to glucose, actual electrolyte powder that is available for anybody, whether the kids want to put 45 scoops in or the regular just sort of 2 scoops that most people do. So we just piloted a program. We handed out over 80,000 snacks at CRI just at our boathouse last year. We tried a transportation program because of where we are located, where we run a bus from CRI to the city of Boston to a public transit stop, and simply offer anyone who wants to come row a chance to get on the bus and come to CRI. And as part of that, we changed our programming structure so that all of our programs started around when the bus arrived, right? So kids are no longer getting on the bus and then coming to a program that is just for them. Come to CRI, get off the bus, and they can learn how to row, they can join a competitive program, they can scull, they can sweep, they can do whatever is available to them after school. They can erg, yep. And I think as part of that, the pilots around the removal of access for people, meaning when we look at our high performance para program, or we look at our adult competitive program, or we look at our youth competitive program, what if we just looked at those as programs as opposed to flagships or as standard bearers for our organization? And just considered them another facet for people to grow through rowing. And what that helped us do was understand that the way people may approach rowing is certainly through a competitive mindset, but there are kids who just love rowing twice a week. They might be violinists, they might be nerds, they might be, they might just want to row twice and stay inside the rest of the time. And all of those options become available through the changes in the way that we've thought about our programming, and then making small decisions, small behaviors that sort of pilot, beta test it.
Right.
So,
so what was some of the, when you were changing the mindset and all that, I don't want to get into the negatives too much, but what was some of the pushback? Were there people who quit in a huff, or did you?
No. So we've all been through so much over the past 3 years, right? Yeah. And so I think that COVID provided us the opportunity to try different things to enable people to get on the water safely. Your favorite program, the Logbook Sculling program. We had basically 42 boats, and we served almost, 1,500, 2,000 people with 20 boats. And,
I was astonished at how well that went.
Oh, thank you. And I think a lot of clubs here did the same thing. Was there a lot of sharing of best practices with other clubs? Yeah, so one of the things that Matt Logan started and I supported and was part of was a weekly call with rowing executive directors around the country when COVID hit. And so we began just debriefing each other from the West Coast to the South to the Northeast to the Midwest. And as part of that, also CRI took sort of a step towards river cohesion as well, and did the same thing in Boston. Yeah. So we invited Cambridge Boat Club, Riverside Boat Club, Union Boat Club to a call about every 4 weeks during COVID. And similar to the executive director call, the River Club's call, we call it now, it's just a loose organization of people sharing ideas, talking about DEI, talking about safety, talking about, the 4-oar rule in Boston. We get cold water, so every club handles it differently, and we want people to
I mean, I have my own boat, but I sort of observe that because I just think, like, what if I went in?
Oh, geez. Yeah. No, it's crazy.
And, you know, I was talking to Tom Rooks yesterday about safety. You know, amazing, like, God, Coast Guard experience.
Wisdom,
He's
very
Director
strong.
of Safety.
Deep knowledge.
And he was saying he'd love to see a PFD on every sculler.
Yep. Well, I mean, there are different types of PFDs, you know. I mean, our friends downriver, Cambridge Boat Club.
Do you have some examples of those at the club?
Well, at CRI...
I'd love to see one. I mean, I'll wear one.
Yeah, sure.
I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, it's a great idea. And certainly when the water temperatures are what they are.
And if you go down to the basin, because I go to the basin and turn around and come back, it's 15K. And, you know, I get a little bit
splashy and
about that crossing. It's pretty deep there, isn't it?
It's about 8 feet.
At the basin?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
It just seems so much deeper.
It's a very broad body of water.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, go ahead.
The Cambridge Boat Club is trying a program where I believe people are wearing PFDs around their waist.
I see. Yeah.
So you know, I think everybody explores safety and you know, talk about pilots and initiatives and failing fast and trying new things. You know, safety is a cornerstone of how we function, and so we actually focus more on not rowing when you could potentially have an accident that could be life-threatening. So we actually don't allow people on the water until we're confident that if they did go in, there's a good chance that they would be able to swim.
There's been several times what is it, the lightning within 15 minutes or something?
45, yeah.
45, okay, that shuts it down.
Yeah.
So the biggest question is, though, what are you going to do about the goose poop?
Well, Charlotte, I don't know if you know, but we have a fantastic innovation.
It's a broom.
It's the dumper pumper.
The dumper, is that the Rube Goldberg machine?
It is.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have a video of it on my phone. I'll share it with you. But
I actually helped make. I think I helped make that video. Anyway, Kane came, the operations manager?
Director of Operations. Yeah.
Yeah. Came give us a demo.
Yeah.
And I have not since had the courage to try it myself, but I've seen other people using it.
It cleans a 15-foot wide dock with one pass.
It's
so
brilliant.
It's a pretty effective piece of...
Is it used regularly?
Daily.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't realize.
Yeah. If you go down to our docks in the middle of the day, anytime that we're rowing,
well, I pick up a broom once in a while just to do my part.
That's great.
One time I found a goose egg on the dock.
Oh my gosh.
It was warm.
Oh.
I know. I felt bad because
I
just put it in the bushes, kind of walked away quick.
Yeah.
We
but
anyway.
have to be careful about that stuff. Yeah.
So, I guess what I wanted to ask you, I've been a member for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
What's the biggest thing you wish members would do or could do to help the club run more smoothly, or do you want to expand? I mean, have people go out and recruit, or what do you wish members could do?
I think it's a good question. I mean, I think that part of the strength and part of the weakness of our community is that it's so broad.
Yeah.
Right. So what would I like the adults to do versus the kids? What would I like the scullers to do versus the sweep rowers? But I think that one of the things that we're recognizing is that in the process of understanding that once people know things, they can change. I've had a number of meetings with different groups within the organization. I'm going to meet with our adult sweep rowing community soon. And I think part of that is understanding that as an organization that's committed to growth, an enormous part of that is learning and exchanging of ideas, right? So what do I wish the different groups or what people at CRI could do is take us up on our offer to learn more about the organization and the work we do. I think a lot of rowing clubs, it's difficult for people who come down at 5 o'clock in the morning to understand what happens at 4 in the afternoon.
Yeah, right.
And likewise, I think it's difficult for the club to communicate that in a compelling way. So whether we tell people, it's whether they hear it, not whether they are listening, but whether they actually internalize it. So they do when there's some sort of friction or concern about a thing. But one of the things that we've really focused deeply on is that the only way we can expect change is through educating people and through them understanding at whatever level they want to understand our organization, that we're here to help them understand the breadth. You can tell people that you serve 10,000 people in the Boston community, but when they look around at CRI, there might only be 200 people there,
Yeah, or
And you tell somebody, I was just talking to somebody the other day, they said, I didn't believe you when you said you put 1,500 people on the water. And I said, that's okay. Like, you don't have to believe us.
Yeah.
And they said, well, actually, we came down and watched, and like, it is incredible that, kind of like the way that you kicked off the conversation today, was the volume of that happens in very, very digestible and approachable pieces for people. Groups of 6, group of 8, group of 10, maybe. Our teams are anywhere from 20 to 40 people.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's pretty rare to see a 400-person field trip at CRI and think, oh wow, this place is a factory. People are just pumping in and pumping out.
Lines everywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like who knew that we had about 175 recreational sweep rowers?
Yeah.
But they show up in 3 different times during the day. And they don't all show up every single day, right? So it's groups of 50 plus people in the morning, midday, and evening. But that happens in very digestible groups of, they go out in 8s, and there might be 2 8s, there might be 24 out of the 40. And then the kids are here when people are working, and the kids are going to school, and there are, hundreds of adults at CRI in the morning. And so it's just sort of that idea that our community is built on the amazing work of our coaches and our staff who make the transformation happen individually.
Your coaches are amazing.
Well, thank you.
I mean, I'm just an old lady who rows, not very long, 10 years, but it doesn't matter who I go out with, they focus on the individual, my progress. It's astounding to me how they do that.
Well, I think one thing that we work really hard on is understanding that our mission as an organization is founded on the fact that rowing creates transformation, and everybody thinks that it happens for the people we serve. But when you think about what we do, so we provide people relationships, whether you're a rower or a staff person, and you become part of a community, and you become part of an aware community that wants to be as inclusive as it's capable of, and to bring people in from different backgrounds with different opinions and different mindsets. And that occurs with our staff as well as with our community, obviously. And then we develop skills, right? So you come down, you've grown as a rower, you've gained skills, right? But part of those skills are resilience, and part of them are communication skills, and certainly for kids, leadership skills, and self-advocacy, and the types of skills that are lifelong skills.
Yeah, and I
but
think
our staff develop those too, right? So they gain that. And then the third thing is, like, geez, if you go to a rowing program, you better get better at rowing, right? Like, you better get faster and fitter and healthier. But part of fitness is mental fitness and mental health.
I'm glad you mentioned that,
And a big part of what we're aware of is that rowing is incredibly beneficial to the people we serve. But the sense of purpose that our staff have in their work is equally important to the organization, right? So I was just talking to a member of our community today, and what we were talking about was that, how's the team going to do this year? And I think one of the things that I sort of push back on is, like, the point isn't winning, the point is meaningful success. So if a young person or an adult has a meaningful success, which might be a loss in a rowing event, similarly, our staff can have meaningful successes at work that don't necessarily, we won't put a medal around their neck, but they may grow professionally and evolve.
I mean, I hear what you're saying. I took winter training one time, or several times, but there was a guy who was kind of a gruff, sort of alpha male sort of guy, and he was running at the 5:30 program, and I'd come regularly, and then I couldn't come for a while. I wasn't feeling good. You know what he did? He called me.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said, "Are you okay?"
Oh my gosh.
I know. It's just like,
Oh.
and you know, he was, I mean, his coaching style wasn't necessarily like, what I would gravitate to.
Yeah.
I guess is the way
Yeah.
to put it.
Yeah.
But just the humanity of that was really meaningful. Yeah.
I think the thing that I can't take credit for that. I think that really is something that is built within the bones and the culture of the organization. And I think one thing we know about culture is that it's incredibly delicate and it needs to be fostered on a regular basis. I certainly try to support it as much as I can, and I try to embody it, and I try to sort of role model the type of leadership that I want to see from my directors and from my head coaches and from every person at CRI. But I can't tell a coach to do that because I didn't know you were out. So how do we foster that? And how do we support it?
It's the people you choose, and it's like all these intangible, undefinable factors that go into it. And he really cared about how we did. He really cared. So that was clear. Anything else? Any other shout outs you want to give? And any feedback from the convention? Are you presenting?
I'm on a panel tomorrow.
Okay.
And we're talking about inclusion in rowing. I'm really excited about that. But no, I really appreciate the fact that US Rowing put a lot of energy into bringing this event in person. As challenging as it is to find a venue and to plan something in this day and age and actually have it come out and have it be successful, we brought about 12 staff down to CRI.
I know, I keep seeing
CRI.
Xavier from Institute for Rowing Leadership.
Yeah.
We'll have a separate episode on that again.
Okay.
But I did.
Great. Yeah.
I talked to CB last year when you relaunched it, and it was really. So Xavier is actually going to be coaching at AV Crew.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's your stomping ground.
Yeah, that's my town. Yeah. So, well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm really glad we could catch up and
see you in person.
Yes,
we're not
likewise.
Zooming.
I'm just so pleased that you're here and we could connect.
It's an honor to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. So we'll wrap it up, and we have a few more sessions tomorrow. We have Row New York. We have Calvin Coffee.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. So everybody knows him, and it'll be fun. So we'll see you again tomorrow.